We all do it, right? We open up our laptops in a meeting or a lecture, and our fingers just start flying across the keyboard. It's fast, it's efficient, it's modern. But is it actually helping us learn? Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea that the slow, kind of old fashioned act of writing by hand is one of the most powerful learning tools you have. So let me ask you this, and be honest. The last time you took notes on a computer, were you really thinking about the material? Or were you basically just a transcriptionist trying to catch every single word the person said? There's a world of difference between those two things, and it's right at the heart of our topic today. This quote from education expert Jim Heal just nails it. The act of writing isn't just about getting ideas down on a page. The process itself is an act of thinking. It's about forming the ideas in your brain. That physical motion of pen to paper, it forces a kind of engagement that the sheer speed of typing lets us completely bypass. Okay, so why? What's actually going on inside our heads that makes a pen is so much mightier than a keyboard for learning? Let's get into the cognitive science behind this whole thing. Well, the simple truth is, our brains just have to work harder when we write by hand. Think about it. You can't possibly write as fast as someone speaks, so you can't be a stenographer. You are forced by the sheer mechanics of it to do something way more complex than just taking dictation. And that hard work is really a full-on mental workout. You have to listen, you have to process what you're hearing, and then you have to synthesize it. You're forced to decide in real time, okay, what's the most important point here? That's prioritization. You're organizing ideas, you're connecting concepts, and you're articulating your own understanding of the material, all before you even write a single word. And this comparison just lays it all out so clearly. Handwriting is active processing. Typing, especially for fast typists, can so easily become passive recording. One is this demanding cognitive act that actually builds memories, while the other, well, it can be a lot less useful for actually making information stick. So the theory is pretty solid, right? But how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's look at a fantastic example of a classroom technique that really harnesses the power of the pen. So I want you to meet Dante Markley. He's a history teacher, and when he's teaching really complex subjects like the Gilded Age, he uses a specific method to jolt his students out of that passive listening mode and get them into active, handwritten processing. He calls it the stop and think cycle. And honestly, it's brilliant in its simplicity. After he delivers a chunk of information, he just stops. He'll pose a couple of really targeted questions, and here's the key. The students have to physically write down their answers before they're allowed to talk about them. It's a built-in, mandatory pause for syncing. And crucially, these aren't just trivia questions. Look at this one. This isn't asking for a date or a name. It's asking for empathy. It's asking for synthesis. To answer this, you have to go way beyond the facts and really process what it all meant for the people living through it. And this gets right back to what our expert Jim Heal was saying. The magic of this technique is the timing. It forces students to process information right away while it's still fresh in their minds. That critical window for learning doesn't get a chance to slip away. Okay, so the method is simple, it's practical, and it's grounded in some solid science. But the big question is, does it actually work? What are the real benefits for the students? Let's take a look at the results. The short answer is a big, resounding yes. According to Markley, this isn't just some nice exercise that feels good. The impact on how much his students learn is clear, it's visible, and it's measurable. There is a real payoff for taking that time to stop and write. And here's what he sees. Students have much, much higher retention on the topics they've had to write about. The act of writing forces that information to the front of their working memory, which then leads to a way better transfer into their long-term memory. When you boil it all down, it comes back to this one powerful truth. That process of wrestling with an idea, figuring it out for yourself, and physically writing it down on paper, that's what makes it stick. All right, so what does all of this mean for you? Whether you're a student, a teacher, a professional, whatever. The real key here is making a shift from being a passive note-taker to becoming a truly active learner. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. The next time you're trying to learn something new, watching a documentary, reading a book, even just sitting in a work meeting, ask yourself this: how can I create my own stop and think moment right now? What's one small thing I can do to just pause, grab a pen, and start turning all this passive information into active, lasting knowledge?